What's up, YouTube? It's Meltin Metal Anthony, and today we're taking care of one of the most common repairs I've seen over the years, replacing a receiver hitch on a trailer. As you can see, this guy got his money worth out of his. He brought us this new one. He wants us to cut the old one off and simply weld the new one on. Now, if you're just starting out in business, you're going to be doing a lot of these. I've probably done, I'd say, over 500 of these over the last 10 years that I've been in business. You get anywhere between $200 and $400, depending on whether you're supplying the receiver or they are. That's in today's prices, 2026. So he supplied the receiver. It's in my shop. He brought it to me. We're charging him $200 because I know you guys are going to ask. Now, I like to show this repair right here to you guys because it's a very basic repair. And if you're first getting into business, it's something you're definitely going to do. So we're going to be using today my 2009 HTP MIG welder. You can stick weld this if you're in the field. I would charge more money. And we're going to be using a grinder, a hammer, and a chisel. That's all you need to do this job. This is a great place to start with very minimal tools and start getting that little side money in your pocket. So let's start hacking this thing off and put a new one on for this guy. So before you take one of these jobs, it's up to you to inspect it and determine how much money you should charge, because I know that's important to all of you guys, and well, it's important to me as a business owner as well. Unfortunately, the guy who welded this coupler on last time was what we call in the business a dickhead. He decided that he was going to not only weld the outside, which is more than enough, he also welded up underneath all the way down the rail. So instead of just popping this thing off by cutting these welds on the outside here, we're going to have to plunge cut it along the frame line and break through those welds that he performed on the inside in order to make this thing come off. This doesn't happen all the time. It's only happened on a handful of them to me, and well, you guys are going to get to see me struggle today because that's what God has determined we're going to do. But let's go ahead. We're going to plunge cut this. Once I get this off, I'll show you what I'm talking about if you don't understand. So now that we've got this cut, if you look in here, you can see where said dickhead welded on the inside of the frame. And now you don't want to do this because you're going to piss the next guy off who has to replace this. Don't be a dickhead. Don't weld inside the frame. It's completely unnecessary. The manufacturer did not intend for that. This is just a guy who's afraid his gay little weld would break. So unfortunately, our customer did not supply us with a new trailer leg. But what I am going to do for him, considering this one does still function, I'm going to do this for free because this client's a friend of mine. He's not just a customer. I'm going to cut this straight. I'm going to weld a piece of plate on the bottom for him before we're done with this job. It's only going to take a couple of minutes, and I'm not going to charge him any extra. Now, I want you to notice something about how I'm cutting this. You'll notice that I keep my grinder at a sharp angle, and the reason is I don't want to cut into the frame. I want to avoid that at all costs. But if you look on this side, you can see we've successfully split right next to the frame without nicking the frame. This is still the material from the receiver itself. So what I'll do next is when I go to cut this, I'll actually just plunge this grinder right in there, split that weld, and then we'll split it all the way around. So if you're a professional welder, it should take you around 10 minutes to get to this point. Obviously, it's taking me a little longer because, well, we're filming this for you. But you shouldn't take you any longer. This whole job really shouldn't take anywhere more than an hour. It should take me in completion about 30 to 45 minutes to do this. So as you can see, $200 is a good rate for me, especially here in my shop, in the comfort of my shop, not out in the snow doing this. So take a look at this real quick. You'll see how we've gotten it. We've minimally nicked the trailer because of the way I held the grinder. I held the grinder at a certain angle so that way I wouldn't cut too much into the frame. Now, when we weld the new one on, we need to clean this up first, obviously. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna fill that in the seam that we're welding because it should land, theoretically, in close to the same spot. But let's go ahead, let's swap out to a grinding disc and let's clean all this excess weld off, and then we'll prep our new piece and then weld it on. So there's two tools I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video, but you should have them if you're welding, cutting, grinding, or doing anything with metal in general. It's gonna be a grinding disc and a flap disc. So I'll start by taking the bulk off with the grinding disc, and then I'll finish with the flap disc. The smoother your finished surface is, the easier it's gonna be to weld, the better the weld is gonna look, and the better the product's gonna be at the end of the day. You don't want a rippled up surface. I hate when I see a handrail and it looks like somebody's ground it up with their teeth because they just used a grinding disc instead of switching to a flap disc and using a little finesse while they were finishing a rail. But let's go ahead, let's grind this down, and then we'll go ahead and get it welded up. So we do have a spot right here where the trailer has been dented in from use over the years. And I'm just gonna hammer that out so that way I don't have to fill such a gap. But if it's in a way that you can't hammer it out, just fill the gap. It'll be okay, I promise. These things are designed, as long as you're a halfway decent welder, that they're not just gonna get ripped off. There's a lot of weld hanging this thing on. And if you guys have seen what I've cut apart over the years and what hangs on as far as these couplers go, you'd be a lot more confident in your welding. There's still about an 1/8 inch gap, but that'll be okay. We'll just fill that in with weld. So now what we're gonna do, because this receiver sits on at a different position, is we're just gonna trace out with a piece of soapstone where this thing's gonna sit, and we'll clean up just that area. And then what we're gonna do is we need to notch out for the leg. We're gonna fit the leg in there and then weld everything up. You might be thinking to yourself, Anthony, what are you, retarded, working on the ground like that? You got that beautiful weld sale table in the background you can be working on. Listen, I'm doing this as if I was first starting out in the business. I want to show you that you guys can do basic repairs with basic hand tools. So if you want to get into this, you can do it on the weekends or as a side gig with just a handful of tools. You don't need to burn the world down. You don't need to have a beautiful welding table like I have, unless you're going to be doing a lot of custom fab and heavy structural like we do for our bread and butter. Now, I don't even need to take this work. Honestly, I take this work to film for you guys, so you guys know that it is totally attainable to start your own mobile welding business. So let's get back to finishing this thing up. We'll notch it out, we'll clean that leg up, fix it up, and then weld everything back together. Now, what I would normally do if I wasn't filming this for you guys is walk over there to my chop saw and I would chop this thing off square. But I'm filming for you guys, and again, I want to show this as if I don't have all the tools that I have. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a speed square, mark this square, and use my cutoff wheel to cut this back into shape. Now our next move here is we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut this little flange off and then clean it up. And we want to get it right back where it was. It's set at that height for a reason. It's probably just the most ergonomic area for it to be. The crank fits at the right height. You know, it cranks down to the right level. But we're going to make this thing as nice as we humanly can, even though it is pretty worn out. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to mark our plate out. What I have here is a 4x4 by 1/4 inch thick piece of plate that we're just going to weld onto the bottom of his old trailer foot. Now this trailer foot is 2 1/4. This is 4 inch. So 4 inches minus 2 1/4 is 1 3/4. Half of that is 7/8. So you can go ahead and calculate it yourself if you'd like. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark off 7/8 with my speed square. I'm going to do it in multiple directions. And now as I turn, so I'm going to set my voltage to about 18. We're going to see how that runs in. That should be good enough. And our wire speed, somewhere around 300 will be fine. This isn't rocket science. I'm welding in a trailer. A lot of you guys like to treat shit like it's rocket science. You'll never make any money. So do your best every time, and once you get used to a machine, you'll kind of just be able to feel for the settings. It seems like it's running good, but it's cold. I can tell it's cold. And that could be because I'm not accounting for the air temperature. It's about 30 degrees in my shop right now because the piece of shit company that sold me my heater, well, it's not working right now. So we're having to work in the cold. Go figure. So I'm going to bump it up to about 19.5 volts and somewhere around 330 inches per minute. It looks better. It's still not quite hot enough for me. So I'm going to 20. I'm going to go to 350 inches per minute. Still a little cold. I'm going to bring it up to 22 volts, about 400 inches per minute. See how it goes. Much better. Now, as you can see, by the time we got to that last weld, we got it nice and dialed in. So the reason I wanted to start with this instead of jumping right into the trailer was because I wanted to dial the machine in based on the ambient temperature, based on the thickness of material, and this base plate and this are similar thicknesses to the C-channel and to the trailer coupler that we will be welding on. So let's go ahead and get this coupler welded on now. Now, a common mistake I see people make with MIG is that they will drag it. Now, when I say MIG, I mean gas shielded. If it's got gas, you want to push. If it's got slag, you drag. The reason is you want to keep that shielding gas out in front of you, and you want to push any contaminants that might be in the metal or in your weld puddle out. You don't want to drag it behind and trap those contaminants. Now, you might be able to get a prettier weld when you drag, but it's not the proper way to do it. I'm just getting everything set in there. I'm gonna make my final weld. Now I'm about to do something that a lot of you guys are gonna tell me it's wrong. But I'm gonna tell you what, this thing was welded on the same way. I know it was, because of the way the weld looked. I'm gonna weld this downhill. Why? Well, because MIG looks like shit when you weld it uphill, and you end up with this big bubbly fucked up weld. I hate welding gas shielded MIG up. If I ever have to weld up, I switch to flux core, dual shield, stick, TIG, anything but MIG. I don't know why it drips the way it does, but it does. So I'm gonna weld it down, and let me tell you something, that's how they're all welded on in the factory. Now we're on the final part of our little build here, our little repair. Now I'm gonna square the leg up to the trailer coupler. You can see it's pretty fucking close, actually. That's nice. This way it's not. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put a tack on here, and that'll serve to help us pull it. Now it's a little bit better. But it's not where it needs to be. Oh, there's a big dent in the side of this. But as you can see, it's square all along where that dent isn't. So I'm going to go ahead and tack it on the opposite side and then weld this thing out. Now, to fill this little hole here, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to cut this thing square right along the edges, the piece that we cut out, and we're just going to weld it in there, patch it in. I'm not going to get fancy and try to make an exact patch. It's a trailer, okay? People don't want to spend $1 million with you for you to do artwork on their trailer. They want it to work. They want it to go down the road. They want no issues. That's what they want. Well, all right, guys, that concludes our repair. I'm gonna clean up here, call the customer, tell them the trailer was done. This took us a little over an hour, and that was because of all the extra steps we went through, putting a new foot on, having to fill that gap, this not really being the right coupler, having to bend the frame back into shape, and the original dickhead who welded the inside of the frame, which you're not supposed to do with these couplers. Anyway, if you like this video, like, subscribe, share, do the whole nine for your boy. If you really like the video, head over to meltinmetal.net, buy yourself one of these fancy FR shirts, some gloves, a t-shirt, maybe a sticker, and enter for your chance to win my old welding rig, El Carcol. And if you didn't like the video, go fuck yourself.